Today's video is a bit of a downer. Um, I'm literally talking about being sad, depression, but I was a little bit on the fence talking about this, especially because I'm not that far removed from college. We're talking about post-college depression, which is super common, um, uh, pretty much universally, at least in America, at least. But um, something, or I was on the fence about talking about this because I'm not that far removed from it. It'd probably be a lot better to talk about it if I was like, I don't know, 30, super far out of college. It is something that I'm still going through. Um, but, you know, I thought why not try to express my feelings. Um, so sorry, this is trauma dumping on you guys. But it's pretty common enough that I feel like it's worth talking about. Um, so something that I heard a lot before I hit my early 20s, like when I was a teenager, preteen, was that your early or your mid 20s, early 30s are a really sad time. Um, and it's surprising, but um, especially that right after college, it's super tough on a lot of people. And I didn't really understand what they were, referring to. It should be the quote unquote prime of your life. At least that's like what common knowledge says. Uh, Physically, you're in your prime. You just get to experience adulthood. You get a lot of freedom. Um, but it really, it really is um, a tough time. And there's a huge shock going from college, um, from pre college, high school to college. You know, you get all this freedom. You get to live in like a walkable community with your friends. You get to party. You're around a bunch of people your age. You're not working. Well, you could be working, but it's usually not full time. And I mean, it's great. I had a great time in college. Um, Unfortunately, it did end with COVID, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But there is a lot of freedom going from college or pre-college to college, um, but also a decent amount of structure as well. So going from that to quote unquote the real world, actually just the real world, um, it's tough. You got to start pretty much doing everything by yourself. Um, and you lose the structure of college. If you don't go to grad school, there's no more school, which is kind of crazy. No more grades, no more ladders to climb. It's I wouldn't say a free for all, but it's kind of like that. It's a wide open terrain, I guess is a better way to refer to it. And I think that a lot of people struggle with that, the loss of structure. Um, I I think probably what was the hardest part for me um, was, obviously the COVID. Um, Unfortunately, oh, uh, sorry about that. Unfortunately for me, I what's it left for spring break 2020, and then that's in March. And then the COVID restrictions came, and that was it. Um, a lot of my friends um, that I had, I would say probably like 50%, I kind of never saw again. The COVID restrictions didn't end until 2022 after I already finished all my classes. So, I mean, that was the lack of closure certainly affects me still. Um, and that's more specific to me. But still, like it just like in more general terms. Um, I think that the biggest thing is you have a lot of high expectations for this time of your life. Um, you know, when I was a teenager, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to be an adult. I'll do whatever I want. I had high hopes for this time, and then the reality once it sets in, it is super super sad. Um, and I feel like a lot of people do struggle with comparing themselves to others, and I think that's probably like the biggest problem that I have. You know, watching, you know, my my friends and fellow students go on and do amazing things. It's hard not to compare yourself, and of course, that's definitely the biggest thief of joy. But um, this modern age with social media, people don't post their failures on social media. They only ever post their successes. So seeing that, it's super disheartening. I actually deleted Instagram once I graduated from college because it was just not good for my mental health. And I mean, that definitely makes it harder to keep up with friends. Um, but I mean, I was just looking out for myself at that point. Um, it is. Uh, it's just the expectation versus reality. I think that's the biggest thing, at least for me. And I mean, this is like a super common phenomenon. Like a lot of people say, oh, the post grad life, post grad depression, um, very real. And uh, I appreciate the freedom of not being in college, not taking classes, all that stuff. But um, I think what I missed the most was like the community. It's super tough making friends in the real world. Um, I've been struggling with it at least. Um, you know, every weekend when, you know, I, I, damn, this does sound pathetic, but like, on the weekends when uh, I don't have anyone to hang out with, you know, it's super tough. It's a very lonely time. Um, so a little bit more on like the COVID specific aspect of it too. Um, Not being able to see a lot of my friends once the restrictions happened definitely put me through a loop. Um, but also, like, I was working. Uh, I was working on the ambulance 2020, 2021, and in the hospital at the end of 2021. But I mean, I mean, that's enough to put you through depression on its own, having to go through just a crazy, like, surge of very seriously ill patients. It is, I mean, it's super sad. You know, I'd go home. I was still pretty big into video games at that time, so I just go home, play video games, just try to think about anything that wasn't work, anything that, can take my mind off of it. Um, and then also like the actual like living through the pandemic part. I mean, having to socially isolate for that time. Everyone was going through it, but especially you know, the high expectations. I turned 21 um, March 2020, so or February 2020, and then March 2020 the restrictions hit. So I mean, I didn't go to a bar for a while uh, after that. But I mean, people lost their lives. People, you know, had it a lot worse. So I'm not trying to like pity me. Oh, woe is me. But um, I mean, it is. It was a tough time for everyone. You know, I'm not trying to say. I'm not trying to throw a pity party. Is what I'm trying to say. Um, so you know, I'm still dealing with the lack of closure part of it. Um, Still trying to figure out how to make friends, um, maintain friendships. Definitely is the hardest part of it. Um, Especially like I don't know. I might want to be more active on social media, but honestly, it's not like it really was um, helping my self-esteem anyway. And I mean, this is kind of outside the scope of this video, but the whole, social media, it is not a real place. People people don't go on social media to have pity parties, you know. They only ever post and it's only ever smiles on social media. So, yeah, I mean, I'm still learning every day, trying to grow every day. Uh, but yeah, that the post grad depression, very real. Hit me like a truck, you know. Um, and I thought that I don't know, I thought I would have handled it better than I did. But, you know, here I am, squatting on YouTube every day. Anyway, this video is very depressing. And I mean, I'm still very happy, like I'm not trying to, I don't know, trauma dump on you guys. I am very happy with where I'm at in life, um, with what I'm doing. I take a lot of pride in what I do. If what I'm saying in the past videos hasn't, you know, shown that enough, I wouldn't want to do anything else. Um, and yeah, I mean, I take a lot of pride in what I do. I feel very fulfilled. I have a family that loves me. I'm very lucky in a lot of ways, but there's still like just high expectations. So, you know, the not to get too Buddhist on you, but path to enlightenment, you have to kill your desires. So, I mean, I'm working on it every day. Definitely not enlightened yet. I'll let you guys know once I am. So, I guess that's kind of all I really have to say about this. Um, yeah, I'm not even allowed to post videos more than 15 minutes anyway, so yeah. I do go to therapy, so don't worry about that. But yeah, if you're still listening, thanks for listening to my trauma dump. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't want to throw a pity party for myself, but I will say, class of 2021, you guys definitely we get it. It was, spring break of 2020. I got an email from my college saying, "Hey, we got another week of spring break because of this COVID thing." And we're like, "Oh my God, this is awesome!" How foolish we were. We were celebrating. We should have been crying, and we did, or at least I did. Um, but yeah. Anyway, that's kind of all I got to say. Uh, I guess that's kind of it. So I will see you guys tomorrow.